What is up, friends? All right, so my editor is not feeling well, and so the video that we were going to do next week probably won't get done in time. And so instead, I'm going to record a completely different video that requires a lot less editing, and something that I can just put together myself pretty easily. So with that out of the way, what I'm thinking I'm going to do is make a video about loop engineering, at least how I do it, and how I've been doing it for several months now. And so there are two things that I do that I would consider loop engineering. One is when I've got a Cursor Cloud agent working on something, I tell it that when it's finished with whatever task I've asked it to do, to enter a loop and iterate with BugBot and CodeRabbit. And once I get those reviews in and code comments, whatever, then it goes through and addresses the valid issues and then continues and loops until there are no more valid issues. It works super. And so by the time I look at it, it's a really great looking PR. And then the other thing that I do is I use Cursor Automations. Every night it cleans up documentation and cleans up tests. And so I'm just going to show those as examples, and we'll see. If you are watching this on any platform other than YouTube, then I would like to invite you to please help me get my YouTube subscribership up. Actually on both channels, but I'm streaming this on YouTube on the Kent C. Dodds Plus channel. And so if you're not subscribed to that already and you want to be notified about my live streams, please go subscribe to that. And yeah, and then of course subscribe to the Kent C. Dodds Vids channel as well. I'm trying to get the Kent C. Dodds handle on there, but I don't know what's taking them so long to work through that. So anyway, let's see, is there anything else? Yeah, so I just need to put together a couple examples, just have a couple tabs open ready to talk about each one, and that'll be it. We're going to make it a really simple, straightforward video to talk about this. I think maybe I should at least put some slides together so that I've got something. I don't know. No, maybe it would just off the cuff. We'll just see how this goes. We got to see how it hits. And with that, let's come over here and find a good one to use. So let's go home. Actually, no. We want to go, this needs to be in the YouTube thing here. Okay. So I'm going to make a video about loop engineering. I want you to just do some searches to get yourself up to speed on what that means. And then we'll talk about the specifics of what I'm going to do for the video. Okay, and I'm gonna take care of this. Okay, there's that. Close that. We're gonna close this, and we're gonna close that. And one thing I know that will be in automation, so yeah, that'll be fine. Okay. Dominant framing is from Addies, so let's open that up. Loop engineering, he posted this on X as well. Okay. Yep. Loop. Is that linked to anything? That's weird. Why is that linked to this random file? Oh my gosh, look at all these scripts. That's so crazy. Hold on a second. If you have any uncommitted changes, go ahead and commit those now. If you have any uncommitted changes, go ahead and commit those now. If there are any uncommitted changes, go ahead and commit those now and push all changes, please. Yeah, okay, good. Sweet, so coming back to this, trigger cadence, loop automation, goal or stopping condition. Yeah, okay. I'm not going to talk about either one of those things. Well, I'll talk about them conceptually, but that's not how I use loop. Okay. Isolation, work trees, yeah, okay. We'll talk about that. Yeah, these are all good things to mention. Yes, exactly. I've talked about this before. Okay, great. So I need you to create slides for this video. The couple of things that I want to focus on here. This video is going to be relatively short. I'm going to talk about my cursor automations. I don't know if you can get access to those through Kodi to understand what they are. If you can't, then I will tell you what those automations are all about. And then second will be the loop that I add at the end of all of my, or most of my Cursor Cloud agents, which involves telling the agent to mark the PR as ready for review and check the automated PR comments from Cursor BugBot and CodeRabbit and address any valid issues, and then continue to iterate until CI no longer has issues and there are no longer valid comments on the pull request. So by the time I'm looking at the pull request, it's already been autonomously reviewed, and I can review it myself at that point. Another thing that I want to make sure to mention here is the cost in tokens and things, as just kind of a call out. I also don't use like a /loop command or a /goal command or anything like that. You can look at how I do things in the Kodi project if that's useful. Just to, put together kind of an outline based on what I've told you about this. The video really is focused on how I close the agent loop and how I implement loop engineering. I think a lot of this has to do with how good your agent harness is, and I use Cursor exclusively because I think it's a really great harness. I also manage isolation primarily by using Cursor Cloud agents. I don't really use work trees. And the fact that Cursor Cloud agents have a full machine with a browser and an environment that you can set up is an important part of what enables me to close the agent loop. All right, there we go. So while it's doing that, I think I could probably go to Cursor environments. There's got to be a page where they talk about Cursor environments. Environments. No. Cloud environment setup. Here we go. Yeah, I think for lots of the video, it's going to be like this, actually, just me showing stuff on screen. So I'll show this, I'll show that. Let's see. BugBot and automations. There was something else I wanted. I need to show manual testing. Okay, Cursor manual testing. Nope. Okay, I think I've got one. Yeah, okay, fine. We'll do it this way. Because I literally just had this. So I can show this. Boom. Okay, so that is where I can talk about manual tests, automations. This is literally just their video. It doesn't really show anything. So cursor, automations. Yeah, this is an automation that I tried to make it create the loop for me so I don't have to deal with that, but that doesn't seem to work. It works when I trigger it manually, so I got to figure out what's going on with that one. Yeah, it's pretty cool, actually. Just doesn't seem to, any comment by 6 people on PR by 2 people in 2 repos. It just doesn't, it never triggers, so I've got something wrong with the trigger there, but got something wrong with my environment there too. Gotta fix that, but oh, you know what? I need to fix this. This redirects to my original channel live streams, but we do things differently now. There we are. Okay, we're gonna go to, let's see. Bring this over here, go to here. And, oh, actually, you know what? I've got a better way to do this. Commit changes, and that's done. So now this should redirect. It takes about 10 seconds, but live, when it's done, will redirect to the new spot. It'll just take a minute. But I wanted to do this. I'm recording a video on how I've been loop engineering for months. Nope, it's still the old. Let's make sure it's going to the right thing. Okay, yeah, there we are. Actually, you know what? Let's do this. Whoops. Huh, that's interesting. I want to share this specific video. So copy this, delete, paste it, and paste that. Okay, cool. There we are. Get rid of that, get rid of this. So we've got that, we've got this. Bugbot is an important piece to this. And Addy. Okay, cool. Let's find our slides. Reveal that in Finder. There's got to be an easier way for me to open this up in a browser, but here we are. Dun, 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 dun. Episode hook title. All right. Okay, so it just did a bunch of to-dos for me. Could you get the slides up to date? And you can go ahead and take creative liberties on what you think makes the most sense from an organizational standpoint, and I will iterate with you on it. Actually, here, instead. Okay, let's get the slides up to date. Why don't you list for me the major beats for this short video? by the way, I'm planning on the video mostly being me as a talking head in the bottom right corner and showing off different tabs to show some of the experiences I've had with automation engineering or loop engineering with cursor automations and some of the BugBot stuff, some pull requests that I have had agents loop on, and manual testing that has been done by Cursor Cloud Agents, stuff like that. So yeah, what are the major beats that you think we need to cover, and in what order? Hey, what's going on, Yuri? Luckily, you remembered I created a new channel. Thank you. Yeah, subscribe, please. I'm trying to get up to 1,000 because there are things that get unlocked when you hit 1,000 on YouTube. I forget what they are. Just remember that they do. So that would be great to get that unlocked. Okay. I actually think that the hook should be that I've been using loop engineering before it was called loop engineering. Yeah, I literally did this. I literally did this. Yep, I absolutely have examples. Yeah, okay. Let's do 2. I literally did this. I have examples of GitHub pull requests where I will comment on the pull request at mentioning cursor, telling it to address AI-generated feedback. If you can use Cody to find some of those, it would have been pull requests from over a month ago, probably, maybe 2 months ago, before I started doing the loop thing. In fact, it might even be 3 months ago. I've been doing the loop thing for a while. And on that note, if you can search through my Cursor Cloud Agent conversation history and find where I tell the agent to enter a loop, it would be cool to find the first time I ever did that. And also just to sum up how many times I've done that. Looks good. And then 4, cursor is the harness. Yeah, it looks good. My cursor automations are mostly just 3 primarily. One, I have one that automatically triggers a Cursor Cloud Agent when the production deploy pipeline fails. 2, the other 2 are nightly cron jobs that will check whether there have been any changes to the code base in the last 24 hours, and if there has, then one of them will review documentation changes and make sure that there's no temporal language, because agents often like to update the docs with so that they read like change logs, but docs should not read that way. And then the other one is it cleans up the tests following the testing principles in the repo, because often agents will not do a great job of following the testing principles. But also agents like to verify their work, and an automated test is a good way to do that. But it means that you wind up with a bunch of negative tests that are like, the app does not do this because we migrated away from that old way of doing things, and it's pointless to keep a test around for that sort of thing. Six. Okay. See if you can find a good one. I did this just today, but it it would be great to find one that has quite a few of iterations. Not sure this is much of a beat. Manual testing. Manual testing is at least entered my workflow before the other loops. I started testing this feature out for Cursor back in like January or February. So I think I could bring up manual testing in Cloud Agents before we talk about the other automations and stuff like that. Good beat. Yeah, here's the tricky thing. The tricky thing is that I actually trade my feedback, or Cursor gives me free token credits in exchange for my feedback. And so I don't have a really good read on how expensive this is, at least from a purely numbers perspective, but I know that it definitely costs a lot. It's certainly not going to fit in anything less than a $200 plan, and it may be more expensive than that depending on what you're having the agents do. And that's really all I want to talk about. Yeah, that is good. Also, I sometimes will let the agent or tell the agent to go ahead and merge its own PR and validate production. That will actually be a part of the loop, but that only happens in projects where failure is an option. In bigger projects, I wouldn't recommend doing that sort of thing, and so that's where you really close the loop is you have a specific stop point where you can enter the loop to make sure that bad things don't happen. This could actually be a callback to the Pocket OS episode where I talk about having good boundaries for your agents. Looks good. Okay, cool. This is shaping up to be solid. See, it's date night, and so I want to finish this as fast as possible. I don't have to finish the edit today. That's fine. I can do that on Monday. But yeah, the sooner I get this done, the better, because I have a big workshop thing that I need to prepare for a week from Monday. And so, yeah, that'd be good to get this done quickly. Okay, this is still waiting on stuff. It's looking for PRs and stuff. Dude, look at all this Kodi stuff. Goodness, folks, I'm telling you, Kodi rocks. It is so cool. And you cannot do this efficiently with regular MCP servers. Like you can just cobble together all the MCP servers. You can, and the agents are getting better. But man, I'll tell you, like honestly, I think that things will change when agents are doing what Kodi does, which is the code mode stuff. When they can do that, then this will be a lot better, but then you also are dependent on the developer of the MCP server to make it good enough, and no guarantees there for sure. So what Kodi is doing is just out of this world cool, and I think that is awesome. Do 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 do. Where I manually asked it, yeah. So if I go to Kodi, pull 321, is that what it was? Was it 321? Yeah. Stronger than expected. Yeah, 28. Let's go with 28. 28, bunk. Can't see dots. No, we have some of these. No, that's a bad example. Yeah, rebase and force push. Could we? I need to find one where I responded to the feedback and tagged cursor. Yeah, this is a good one actually. Please check CI failures and fixtures used, then run full gate and push. That's a good example. I wish that I had responded to this one. I do have pull requests where I do that, where I'll just respond to their thing directly. Oh yeah, here it is. Please take a look at the feedback on this PR and address valid issues. Yep, and here it is. Boom. This one's a really good one. Yeah, this is perfect. I did this so much. Such a pain. Hated it. That's a good one. Can confirm the first enter a loop prompt. Rats. Do you have any mechanisms for searching Cursor Cloud Agent conversation history? Find the first Cursor Cloud Agent conversation where I asked the agent to, quote, enter a loop. I did it before then. I only formalized it as enter a loop at a certain point, but yeah. Okay. Okay, so let's see if we got this updated. No, the slides are still... Okay, oh, okay, so we're just outlining it right now. I think one thing that I really want to make clear is that figuring out ways to close the agentic loop is something I've been talking about for a long time. And the first real example of that was manual testing with Cursor, where they gave your Cursor Cloud Agent a real machine that had a real browser and a persistent environment. And when I discovered that, I actually gave a talk about that, titled How I Build Web Apps in 2026. You can find that on my website, and references and whatever else you need there. But yeah, closing the agentic loop has been my pursuit all this year. And manual testing was a really big part of that. Then automations was a big part of that. And then discovering the ability to just tell the agent to use Kodi to mark its pull request as ready for review, and then loop with the AI reviewers and CI. That was the real unlock on making sure that by the time the PR came to me, I knew that it had already been reviewed pretty thoroughly. Huh, it says that it already did the slides. Oh, that's the template. Ah, that explains that. In the slides, feel free to make different links clickable. Makes it easier for me to open things as needed. I wouldn't say that this has been a year-long pursuit. I really only started thinking about this at the beginning of 2026, and it's June. Dude, this blue underline looks ugly. I think it's probably useful to talk about how even before manual testing, like last year, as agents became more and more capable of doing multiple turns with tools, it became really valuable to tell an agent to perform a task and write the test for that task and iterate on that task and those tests until those tests passed. And that's something that I was doing even before that. I don't really feel like we need to focus on this a ton, but it does seem to make sense in this context. And so maybe we mention that briefly before we even bring up the beginning of this year with manual testing. Oh, right. And in fact, even before manual testing and Cursor Cloud Agents, Cursor introduced browser mode, and I definitely used that. So I would put that somewhere between the testing, like automated testing loop that we were doing last year and the full-on environments and Cursor Cloud Agents with manual testing. That looks much better. Thank you. Yeah, okay, so that's a good example. This was January 8th, and then in March, we have this. It's a perfect example. And then March 31st. Yeah, we don't need. Actually, I can just be like, and then look at this. It's like so much stuff, because that one's a lot more than this one is. So yeah, that's good to include all these. What the loop is: agent acts, environment responds, verify comments, agent fixes, stop condition. I'm not sure I am super with this. I want this slide to be a lot more generic. Just the idea that we're closing the agentic loop by giving the agent a task to do and making sure that it can run to completion and verify its own work. Although, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like loop engineering is more about making agents a little bit more proactive through triggers and automations. What is your read on how people are defining loop engineering right now? Yeah, it's using Cody to find this stuff. So the other agent was like, I can't find the conversation history. This one's finding it. It's gonna find it. Okay, yeah. Yes, I think that this is correct. And I like the act, observe, react, and stop steps. That's what our slide should say about what the loop is. And I do like the distinction between closing the agentic loop and specifically loop engineering. And I want that to kind of evolve. So last year we were closing the agentic loop, and here are the things that we did to do that. And now we are taking those loops and making them deliberately designed to be repeatable and proactive through automation, schedule, triggers, and state and independent verification. That independent verification. Make sure, I think we might have this already, but I want to make sure that we do address the value of having the human in the loop. Loop engineering is just making that loop wider. I would like to have some visual that shows the loop where it's like a circle with one line at the top that enters, and that is the like initialization of the loop. And then the loop is act, observe, react, like kind of continue loop thing, and then the arrow that's coming out is stop. Does that metaphor make sense? See if you can put something together like that in the slides. Yeah, this isn't quite act, observe, react. Yeah, that's not quite what I want. So we need browser mode. Okay, so then I've got this. Or let's see, actually, cursor. Can I open IDE? Or let's see if I can do Okay, so then if we do, actually, I wonder if I could just do my slides where I have this would work. There we go. Okay, so I can talk about it right here. I even gave a talk about this earlier, and you had cursor able to control the browser. Browser mode made a big difference. And manual testing then, and that's where we are now with this guy. Okay, so it's going to go there and that. So I use cursor. Cursor is great. Cursor does have support for work trees, but I personally like isolation, complete isolation with Cloud Agents. Yeah, okay, so this is where we got cursor automation, automations, the PR review loop. Okay, now I've got to find a cursor agent where I did the review loop, and it worked out really well. Let's come back. Here we are. Yikes. Bro, this looks so bad. And also, I think the arrow that comes into the circle should say act. And then at the bottom of the circle is observe. And then at the top of the circle is act again. Prompt. Or trigger. Yeah, something like that. I don't know. Okay. Okay, yeah, this one you can see there's that feedback and then it's responding. So if I go to this one probably has, oh, interesting. No, this is probably, I copy pasted that. Yeah, okay, that's not gonna be good. Not a good one. Okay. Here, let's see how you did on this guy. By the way, chat, this is live, so if you have comments and stuff, I can respond. Loop is trigger act, observe, no, get rid of react. Get rid of react. I think it just doesn't know what I want. Excalidraw. Stop condition. Trigger. No, and act. Observe. Yeah, I should just do this. I want it to look like this. See what it does with that. Okay, so then, I don't know that I'm even going to show this, so maybe I should just show the Excalidraw instead. Oh, that's such a good line. The trait is compute for attention. Yep, that's exactly what it is. Okay, so coming back here. Trigger, act, observe. Yeah, it just goes like that. That looks fine. Okay. I don't know if I'm going to use that, but maybe I'll just use this. In fact, maybe I'll just draw it live. Yep, that'll be fine. Okay. So let's go back. We were already sort of doing this, and then we got browser mode, and then let's see. Yeah, how do we do that? Okay, so I draw it, and then I just say we had like tests that we would have it do that, and that worked really well. And then we got browser mode, and it could iterate more by itself. So we're just closing the agentic loop. I'm just trying to decide. Oh yeah, and then we got, oh, and this is an example when I did this, so that's cool. And then we got whatever this is called, manual testing. So browser mode, and then the cloud agents got browser mode. And for a while, I would have the AI agents review stuff, and I would send that feedback manually. And then I built, now we're starting to actually do loop engineering with automations. And let's see if you found my first one. Man. Jeez. Okay. Sheesh. Current candidate remains May 4th unless older chunk produces a match. It could have been May 4th. That could have been the first time. There may be 1,500 agents to sift through. I'm curious. How many Cursor Cloud agents have I run? The slide deck is built from scratch. Brandon Roberts Dev. Hi there. You said that like it's a statement because there's no question mark, but it sounds like a question. And kinda, I've got Cursor building this slide deck using Reveal.js. And I have like kind of a template that it uses. This is only the second deck I built with it though. You know what's so crazy about this is it's going through, oh my gosh, you have to see this. You guys, you don't understand how cool Kodi is, what it's doing to accomplish what I've asked it to do. Like, it's unbelievable. Watch this. To get this out is kind of a pain, but copy x dot code. So then I come over here. Let's do TypeScript. Here we go. Okay, watch this. Look at this. This is what Cursor is writing. So it's listing agents, getting details, list agents, limit 20. Here's my cursor. That's not to be confused with cursor. But so now it's got a page of agents. It turns that to, into an array. I guess it needed to. Then it's looking for enter a loop. And it's got a loose version of that. So that's cool. Map limit. That's neat. Just these little handy utilities it made. So it gets the details, gets user messages from the conversation. Oh my gosh, that's so cool. And then it's looking, it's testing exact and loose. And then it returns. So here we're inside of a map limit. Oh gosh. Because yeah, this is, oh man, that's so cool. And then it's matching, and if it's an exact or loose, and gets the ID, the name, created at, repository, and the snippet. Oh, it's so cool. And then it count, next, first, and last. Matches count, latest match. Yeah, so it's able to do all of that. Like this conversation history, some of these messages will be like hundreds of thousands of tokens, right? Like with the whole conversation history, it gets the whole conversation history, filters down to just my messages. Like it could be millions of tokens. My messages filters out just the ones that have what it needs. And all of that is happening inside of a dynamic worker on Cloudflare. And then it just returns the pieces that it needs. It is unbelievably cool. You don't get it if you're not like blown away by what this is doing. None of that enters the context. All that comes into the context is the relevant stuff. That is why Kodi is so sick. Unbelievable. So, and it's only going like 20 at a time, which is why it's taking so long. I've run 2,600 Cursor Cloud agents. We're going to go thumbs up, baby. We'll shrink this so that that's not quite as wide. Yoink. Boom. I wish that I could easily show that Kodi was the one that got me this answer. But there's too much. But I can cheat because I'm a software developer. Oh, no way. What? Come on, there's got to be a better way. No, let me select what I want inside of that. Fine. just going to go in and delete some of the messages so that I can get the pieces that I want in the screenshot. Because I'm a developer and I do what I want. Sweet, there we go. Oh, no way. Oh, rats. Because it's virtualized. So, dang it. All right, fine. It's not worth it. Okay, so we're going over to X. Two, 6, 2, 2. Boom. Yeah, that's solid. Yeah. It's funny. Congratulations, random person. I think I see stuff like this because I love seeing people getting married. And so there you go. Favorite that. See more of that. Oh, sweet. Okay, let's see what else is going on. Where are we at with things? Did we find it? What did you decide to do here? This is taking longer. Maybe it's older agents. Some pages slow. So it found workflows. Oh, where do we go? Queue a longer scan and retrieve it instead of grinding through every page synchronously. Interesting. I missed something here. We need to document something better, I guess. Wow. Okay. Jeez. It's really going at it, man. When this is done, will you be able to tell me how many times I sent that message? I'm fine with number of conversations in which it was sent. How's it going so far? Estimated or ETA? It's so crazy that it just decided, you know what, this is taking a long time. I'm gonna go send this over to a Cloudflare workflow. We'll have it do it on its own. Oh. Generic remote connector. May 5th. Okay, let's see if I can find that. Do I have to, is there a search? Can I search? Cursor. Search, search. Here we go. Can you give me a link to that may fit conversation? Sweet. Yeah, now we're talking. Okay, so around this time is when I started doing this. But before that, I didn't call it a loop. I just had it do this. Okay, it is almost 4. I'm going to have to hit record at some point. But this is good. I found a really good early example. What's cool too is that I did not write this. I was working with Cody, probably in Claude, and I said, oh, this is a problem or something. Oh, yeah, I probably actually had it going through. Oh, yeah, you know what? I think I had it add this at the bottom of every one of them. So I had like a whole bunch of issues open, and I told either Claude or Cursor to go through those issues and fire off or spin up Cursor agents for each one of the issues, and at the end, stick this loop in. Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's what's going on here. So there were others at the same time. If we look at Cody 1, 2, 3, probably, oh, issue. Whoop, yep. Issue. Issues with an S. Okay, no, I decided at that time that was not going to be done. So let's see that. Nope, that wouldn't have been it either. Hold on a second. Oh, maybe it was. Oh man, I love this so much. This is so good. Okay, so this is one where I was doing it manually. I don't need 2 examples of that, so let's get rid of that. And then here's when the first time I could find, certainly not the first time I think, but the first time I could find where I officially told the agent, hey, enter a loop. And it was to fix this issue. Okay, coming back here. Whoops. I actually started doing the PR loop thing before I started doing automations. How does that? No, that's incorrect. And I think we should just leave it. Well, so no. I think and honestly, it's the automations and those automatic triggers that are what distinguish context engineering from just closing the agent loop. So I think the automation should come after. Okay, how are we doing? You find anything else? Okay, here we go. Oh wait, no, it's not done. It's still doing stuff, but this is... Can you continue to search backward to see if you can find an earlier time when I started saying that? Or like telling the agent to do that sort of thing? Oh yeah, so I used to, I was doing that. Okay. Actually, what I'm looking for is the first time I told the agent to proactively wait for CI and feedback comments to come in, and at that point check and repeat that process. I'm not looking for the first time I told the agent to go check. I'm looking for the first time I told it to loop itself. Okay, let's see how we ended up with this. Okay, so we gotta go manual testing. Cursor is my harness. Let's get rid of the cursor is my harness slide entirely. We need to transition. Let's also get rid of the work trees mentioned. I don't think we need to talk about that so much. And we need a slide that shows up before we talk about the PR feedback loop, where I talk about how I did that manually before I realized I could do it in a loop. Yeah, I am definitely in the weights. That is for sure. Okay, let's see where we're at. Yeah, let's check this out. We're getting there. Browser widen the loop. Full environment unlock. Yeah, 3, 2, 1 is a bad example. Manual loop example. As my manual test example. As my browser mode example. Screenshot of browser mode in my slides. Hold on a second. Oh yeah, so that's my manual. And then this, no, this is the better manual. Yeah, okay, so I'm gonna go here. Hold on. Now I'm mixing this up. I don't think I need that one. And then this is the first time I told it to go into a loop. And you can see that in just the number of iterations it went through. Check off, and then yeah, okay. And now we got automations, and then this was yeah, this is not it. I'm still trying to figure out how this. I'm not sure that I need this. I liked it. Yeah, I don't think we need it. Okay. And then this one. Yeah, okay. Yeah, there's one. Okay, we're almost there. I don't really feel like I need receipts. I don't necessarily need the receipts slide. I think that these topics should be brought up naturally as we're talking about each phase as we traveled through the process of closing the agent loop and evolving into agent or loop engineering. Woohoo! That's not Theo money. Yeah, let's talk about on the cost bit. I think we should talk about my own feelings that the cost for these things is going to come down as data centers spin up. My hope is that costs will come down as data centers spin up. I'm actually about to record a video that will touch on this too. Isn't demand expected to increase also? Good point, Bishop Dev. That absolutely will be the case. As the costs decline, the demand will increase. I still think that the costs will come down because competition, and we'll figure out ways to make this more affordable. But yeah, who knows? That's a good point. I might mention that in the video too. Okay, what is our... Actually, for the fun of it, you wouldn't be able to generate a graph in a canvas for me, showing the number of cloud agents I've used over time. Bishop Dev, I work in enterprise. A lot of companies are moving towards this AI DLC, software delivery lifecycle. They are building these frameworks to pretty much change it. From what I've seen, it's more and more inference usage. Our company is now on a Codex pilot. We have no limit. Wow, geez. That's wild. Yeah, I completely agree with you. Inference usage will only go up. That is absolutely the case. But I also believe that data centers will be able to keep up. But I don't know. We'll see. I'm bullish on deterministic software too. Like I think that this is part of my the Cody video that will be coming out in the next couple weeks. The pipeline that I have with Cody is to generate deterministic software. So I don't know. Maybe I'm off on that, but lots of my processes are like one-offs, and then I say, okay, I'm going to do this a lot. Let's put it into a deterministic pipeline. I don't know. Yeah, it's an interesting future, that's for sure. We're definitely going to be using more. Whether the costs go down as a result of data warehouses or what is data centers, that's an open question. Okay, this is taking quite a while. I think I'm ready to just go with the, oh, okay, it's checking. This is the last little bunch it needs to check, so I'll just let it do that. While it's doing that, let's just look at the code that it's using. And Sublime, TypeScript. Okay, fine. I should have an easier way to do this than I do. Whoops. Prettier. There we go. Here's the code that it wrote. So here's our windows. Here's some utility functions. Here's our main. It always does this. It never uses the input. I don't know how to get it to stop doing that. But I don't care. That's the beauty of this. So we've got our cursor, unique agents. Here's our batch. And we map limit on the batch. Oh, that's so sick. It's so cool. It doesn't realize, I think, that it can actually, well, it doesn't need to, but it could actually use NPM packages in here. It could import from NPM and that would work. Get details, user messages. Okay, something finished. Sweet, here we go. Let's do a line graph, not a bar graph. Or no, the cumulative one is good actually. Let's squeeze that, make this big. Oh my gosh, it's so cool. It's so cool. Where's, yeah, here we go. This. That is misleading. This is better. Yeah. I think it's interesting to see the number of agents that I'm creating is going down, but I think that's mostly because yeah, what why is that? I don't know. Psychosis. I don't know how to spell psychosis. All right. We should be close. Okay, no. I think at this point we're safe to say that April 28th is the earliest. Can you give me a link to that? We're going to just wait for this to come back, and then I'll hit enter. Each one of these. How long do these take? Does it say? Does not. It is so unbelievably cool what's happening here. Sorry, Bishop Dev just saw. Most of the tooling I see now is for individual usage. What I find we need more in enterprise is collaborative interfaces. Like we are working on a collaborative interface that integrates agents for requirements elicitation, business cases, requirements back. Oh, yeah, that's interesting. That actually kind of goes in line with the product engineering stuff that I'm doing, where it's like, we got to build stuff that people use, and like be cognizant of what people are like actually solving people's problems, which I think is interesting. Okay, cool. So here we go. The first time. Okay, so this is where we deployed it. There it is. Continue on repeat. So I think this is probably the first time. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so I can come back here and say, okay, this is the first time I did it. And I was like, oh, that was quite nice. So then yeah, right here you can see, okay, there was a commit, some feedback, commit, feedback, commit, feedback, boom. Yep. I think I want to do it like this. And then we'll come here. I'll say, and I moved on to just say, you know what? Like more feedback, check the feedback. You know what? Just do it on your repeat. And it did for 19 minutes. And I was like, oh, okay. So then I said, enter a loop. And then from then on, I started doing that as like a default thing. And in fact, I even used Cody to mark the PR as ready for review so that it could do all that by itself. And I would have it message me on Discord with a link to the PR so that I would know when things weren't working. And now we also have automations. Boom. Okay, cool. I think I'm ready to hit record. First formal example right here. Yep, there it is. Okay. Okay, so before the formal example, I had this informal attempt. This is the first time I told the agent to continue on a loop by itself. I actually think it makes sense to have a slide for this. Did the loop manually, and then I told the agent to do it, and then I made it formal. So then the PR feedback becomes the input. Dun, 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 dun. And then I think it would be useful to add in the document or in the slides that my typical loop instruction includes some instructions to ping me on Discord with a link to the PR when done, so I don't have to keep an eye on it. That's the stop condition, I guess, or the output of the stop condition, which is there's no more valid feedback on the PR. And in fact, one of these I actually do. Oops. No, I don't need to show an example of that. Yep, okay, this is good. Let's have a closing slide about Better with Kent. Let's also have an opening slide about Better with Kent. We typically have some sort of hook and then an opening like this is Better with Kent where we learn durable skills, and then we have a closing where you say this was Better with Kent. Please like, comment, subscribe, all that. We are almost ready. I'm going to go tell the family that I'm going to be recording, and then we will get recording. Okay, cool. There we go. We're going to come over here. Let me make sure I'm not missing something at the end. Okay, I think I'm ready to go. Commit and push. I'll be right back, and then we'll record. Okay, we're gonna do this thing. So the way we're gonna do this is I'm gonna bring up OBS. Still working on the workflow that I like, but what OBS is gonna do for me, if you weren't watching when I was working on my pipeline, I've got all these. Each one of these is going to be recorded individually. I wanted to make it so that it was 8K and then I could just slice out the pieces that I wanted, but that doesn't work very well apparently. So instead, I have a source record thing that will record each one of these individually. And then I will pull that into the project and we'll use Remotion to piece things together. We'll just see how it goes. I don't know. We'll just, the editing is going to happen next week. I will not have time to edit today, but hopefully I can do it on Monday and then have it scheduled to go out on Tuesday, because I think Tuesday is when I want things to be published. Okay. Hey, Rebecca. I don't know if y'all could hear that, but I could, and it was rather loud. Okay. Here we go. Let's just, oh yeah, one other thing I need to do is we make that big so that we've got lots of white lighting up my face right here. Okay. I think we're ready to go. I'm glad I stopped because it took a second to do stop the recording. Yeah, it looks like oh, okay, there it is. Interesting. Okay, we can delete these. They're really big. Okay, cool. Let's try it again. You want to know about loop engineering? Well, I was doing it before it had a name. So in this Better with Kent video, we're going to continue to learn about durable skills for people who ship software. And loop engineering is like the hot new thing, but it really is not something actually all that new. It's something that we've been working our way toward for quite a while. So I'm not here to talk about the /loop or /goal commands. I actually haven't used those at all. But I want to show you how I do loop engineering and how I have gotten naturally into this place of widening the agent loop so that agents can be more helpful, more useful to me at shipping actual software. And hopefully this can be helpful to you too. If it is, subscribe, like, and comment and all of that, and share it with your friends and all of that good stuff. So let's start out with a little drawing here. Let's say that I want to have a loop that my agent is able to do on its own. So a loop basically is you've got some sort of trigger here, and that could be your prompt, or it could be a event that's happening or whatever. And then you're going to have some sort of stop condition. So this would be like, okay, once you've actually solved the bug, or like your tests are passing or whatever. And inside of this loop is everything that the agent needs to go from this trigger to that stop condition. And so I would just put act and observe. inside of this loop. And so the agent does a thing, it observes, and then it acts again. And to actually close this agent loop, you need to be able to make it so that the agent can observe. And so it's going through this process here from act to observe and then back again. And it just continues this loop until, hopefully, it accomplishes the objective that it set out to accomplish. Now, this is actually something that even like a year ago we were doing. If you had like automated tests, you would say, okay, go ahead and write a test for this that's failing and then do whatever you need to do to make it pass. So it's like a TDD thing for the agent. That is one way that you would kind of close the agent loop. And then Cursor last year released something that I used a lot, or still use occasionally, called browser mode, where you could tell the agent to, you know what, pull up a browser, and it knows what port the application's running on. It probably even started the server, and the browser can be controlled by the agents, and so it can click around and it can do things. And I actually gave a talk earlier this year titled "How I Build Web Applications in 2026." You can find it on my website. And this is a slide from that talk to demonstrate that. And basically, the Cursor agent is able to navigate around the browser. And this is really not unique to Cursor either. Computer use has been a thing for a long time. But tying it in closely to your coding agent is really powerful and goes beyond what the Playwright MCP had done before that. And so we're just continuously widening this loop. Like you basically make it bigger and bigger, make it so that it can do more and more things for you. So that's the idea behind the agent loop, and we have been doing this for quite a while. Now the point is though that we're trying to widen this loop to make it even better and make it so that the agent can do even more before we get to that stop condition. And so another thing that was ultimately done earlier this year by Cursor was they added the ability for cloud agents to run a real machine and have like a full-on desktop experience and a full browser. And in fact, you can even create environments and save those environments so that when the cloud agent starts up again, it has all that same environment. You can like log in to your service, and then when the environment spins up, it's got all the right cookies and everything, so you can be off and running. It's super efficient, very cool. And by the end of it, you end up with a pull request that has a video that you can watch, and you can verify, okay, yeah, so this is a visual change, but like, what does this experience actually look like? And this further closes the agent loop, or widens the agent loop, by making it so that the agent can test its own work even visually and say, you know what, that like looks funny, or I'm going to change this, or this button is not accessible, whatever. And so this process of widening the agent loop is something that we've been doing for quite a while, since like last year, and we're just continuing to improve this quite a bit. Now, earlier this year, back in like January, I found myself working with Cursor Cloud Agents a lot, and I would end up right in the comments of the pull request. I would say, hey, Playwright is failing in CI, please fix that. And I would @mention Cursor, and it would respond. It would actually, the agent would get that as context and continue to like perform whatever I wanted it to perform. And I would go back and forth, and sometimes I would say, hey, Bugbot, I want you to fire off a review on this, and I would do all of this manually. I also told it, check CI and fix CI, and I realized, oh, okay, so Cursor Cloud Agents have the ability to check CI. I don't even have to tell it that Playwright is failing. I can just say, like, go check it, fix it. And then eventually, I got to the point where I didn't like doing that manually anymore. It was kind of annoying to do that. And so we have this pull request here where you will notice I've got these commits that are happening that Cursor's making, and then Cursor Bugbot is throwing a couple feedback pieces in here as well. And then you'll notice another commit, and there's nothing going on from me on that side. What's actually happened was I kept on telling the agent, hey, there's been some feedback on the pull request. Please address it. So more feedback, more feedback, more feedback. And then I got so tired of that eventually I was like, you know what? Just continue on repeat until all the valid feedback has been addressed. And it worked. It ran for 19 minutes. And so like it's doing a little bit of sleeping and stuff here. But it actually worked. And that's where this came from, where it's like, okay, so here's a commit, here's some more feedback. Let me address that and let me commit again. And it just kept on this iteration until there was no more feedback that was valid and I could merge the pull request. And that was awesome. And so I actually ended up formalizing that as something that I do as like a standard thing. So this was, let's see, my first time I looked for this, the first time I actually formalized this was April 11th. After that first time of trying like this out and discovering it was possible back on April, let's see, that couldn't have been April 28th. But anyway, so like back in early April, I decided, you know what, like we can actually tell these agents to loop themselves. And that is the power of loop engineering, is telling the agent to perform the loop. Now, it's a little different from a Ralph loop. And I think this is also an evolution of what a Ralph loop is. But just the idea that you can tell the agent, hey, you know what? You should just go ahead and loop. And now this is like standard procedure for me on almost every cloud agent that I create. I tell it to go through this loop. I've got this just saved in my clipboard. I should probably make a skill out of this or something. But I tell it what to do. And then I also even tell it to message me on Discord with a link to the PR so that I, like, by the time it's all done, I don't have to babysit it or keep track of it. It just sends me the message using Kodi, because Kodi has access to Discord and it can send a message for me. And it lands in our shared Discord, and I say, okay, great, I'll pick it up and I'll review it or whatever. And so at this point, the PR feedback becomes the input for the agent. And that widens the loop even further to the point where the agent can pretty much do most things autonomously. And like I said, I do have the agent send me a message on Discord, but sometimes, like, depending on the situation, I might actually just tell the agent, go ahead and merge it, get it, watch it deploy, and test it in production, depending on whether failure is an option here. Because like on some things that I'm building, it really doesn't matter all that much if something fails, and I can just like let the agent run amok. On other things, you definitely don't want to be doing that. Please don't do that. And so with this, another thing that has kind of widened this loop for me and made the agent more capable of doing things is automations. And so I've got a couple of automations in here that I find to be really useful. So one example is the prod CI failure. So when there's a failure in the production pipeline, I use GitHub Actions to do my deploys. So if that fails, then a Cursor Cloud Agent is automatically spawned to look at that failure. And so by the time I look at the pull request, or even by the time I realize there was a prod deploy failure, I've already got a pull request that is fixing, or has already fixed this, and I can just look at that and merge that as needed. I also have this up-to-date docs. So one thing that I find that agents do a lot is they like to write your docs as if it's a changelog. Like, we used to do it this way, and now we do it this way. And I hate that, because it's just like this negative direction, because often the agents are going to be the ones that are reading the docs. So that negative direction just confuses the agents or even the users who have to use that stuff. And so every night it will just check, were there changes to the docs? And if there were, let me go and make sure there's no like temporal sort of language in there or negative direction or anything like that. Super helpful. And then keeping the tests tight is another automation that I do, because I find that often agents will write regression tests to say, okay, so I'm going to remove this feature. And so I'm going to write a test to make sure that that feature has been removed. But I don't need that test kept around after the fact. Like, the agent is using that to make sure it's done things correctly, but I don't need to keep that test around after I've merged the pull request. Like, just get rid of that. And so that's what keeping the test tight does. It also tells the agent every night to like just double check that we're following our testing principles and everything. And so I wake up every morning to a pull request that improves the tests, and here and there. And it's quite nice. I really find that this is like the thing that goes from just closing the agentic loop to true loop engineering, is that like it's firing off on specific triggers, on schedules, on the state of the world, whatever. And that is how I do loop engineering. Now, I want to call out that I actually get free tokens in exchange for my feedback on Cursor. And so I don't have a clean dollar number to give to you. And also I should mention that this is not a sponsored thing. They didn't ask me to make this video. And to be clear, you could probably do all of this exact same stuff with Claude or Codex or whatever. I don't really care whether you're using Cursor. I find it to be really great. I love the harness, all of that. But however you do this, I don't think that it's like Cursor has some sort of corner on the market with this. But anyway, my point is that because I get token credits from Cursor, I can't give you like a solid dollar amount of how much this is going to cost you. But I am going to like be pretty confident in saying that if you're not on a $200 plan, you're probably not going to be able to do this. And even if you are, it does get pretty expensive. And so you want to be judicious on how frequently you're using these features and make sure that what you're using it on is actually something that will return to you more than you are spending to make it happen. So like, between Cloud Machines and browser checks and CI and review bots and all of the retries and all of that stuff, it really does add up. But the objective here is you're trying to trade compute for your attention. And if your attention is really valuable, then maybe this trade-off is worth it. So I also kind of personally expect that costs will go down as we get more efficient with the way that all of this works and more data center capacity comes online, all of that. At the same time, usage will go up. And so we'll just see what the future holds on this. But as of today, yes, this is going to be like loop engineering is an expensive concept. So with all of that, just make sure that you're being careful. If you remember my video about Pocket OS, where I tell the story of what can happen if you give your agents a little bit too much leeway, you want to make sure you have really clear boundaries. And this is one of the reasons why I love Cursor Cloud Agents, because I can really tie it down like these are the things you have access to. So that's really powerful, that level of isolation. And I think that loop engineering really comes back down to like just good engineering and just making it like widening the loop, making it easy for agents or people to verify that they have accomplished the task that you set before them. And also to be able to trigger agents to spin up based off of certain events or on a regular schedule or whatever. That's all loop engineering is to me. What is it to you? I want to hear your response and your thoughts in the comments below. So please do, right below the like button. And if you would, please subscribe if you'd like more of this content. And I would love to hear from you what more you would like to learn from Better with Kent. So thank you so much for getting better with me. And that is it. Ta-da! I hope it worked. How long is that? Was that like 14 minutes? Not bad. Not bad. It's still saying it's stopping recording, which freaks me out. Oh, I totally forgot I had this. Yeah, none of those things I really needed. It's fine. It still says it's stopping recording. I've had this happen before and it worked out okay. So hopefully. Okay. I just finished recording. OBS says that it's still stopping recording. It also says encoding overloaded, so I'm really nervous about this. Could you do a quality check on the recording output? It should know where the recordings end up. I'm going to tell the family that I'm done recording. I'm done recording. I said I'm done recording. Sorry, I'm not done working. Oh, fun. Okay. Oh, come on. Is there not documentation that says where these recordings end up? Good point. I'll check the docs. Feel free to update the documentation so it's easier for agents to know. You don't necessarily need to put that in like agentsmd or something, but in the documentation where an agent would naturally go, we should have a good reference for this. That's interesting, the teleprompter is shorter. It's still growing. Oh, great. Which one was that? Oh, interesting. 1310. So it's like catching up or something. Yikes. Let's see. Hopefully that recording worked okay. Oh dear. Okay, finally stopped. It's interesting that the teleprompter is so much shorter. That's weird. The program MP4. What is the program MP4 that it's talking about? Okay, let me just look at the primary cam. That's the one that matters the most. Make it so that the agent can do even more before we get to that stop condition. And so another thing was ultimately done earlier this year by Cursor was they added okay, well, that's too bad. And you know what, I accidentally removed the recording from Streamlabs, so that's funny that I did that. Is the video lagging? Yes, it was lagging because we dropped frames. Dang it. Yeah, I messed up. I'm gonna have to try and do this off stream, and I'll see if it's any better, and then we've got to come up with something else. Maybe making 3 4K encodings at once is not gonna work well. Oh, darn it. Oh, not just audio quality. Sorry, it's not just audio quality, it's quality in general, video and audio. There are tons of dropped frames in like multiple seconds where the video is frozen. My theory is the problem is a combination of me trying to do these recordings while streaming with Streamlabs. People on my live stream were complaining about dropped frames as well, and I'm seeing errors in Streamlabs about dropped frames, so that's probably related. And also recording 4 videos at once, 3 of them 4K, is probably not helping. Okay. I guess I'm gonna try and record this without streaming, and we'll see how that goes. And then, yeah, bummer. If it goes well, then I'll just have to figure out what I'm gonna do in the future. I do like recording while streaming, so I'm not sure what to do about that, but. So anyway, thanks for watching me prep and do my practice. We're gonna try it again.